कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, अरे कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो। साहब मिले सबूरी में, अरे साहब मिले सबूरी में, मन लागो यार फकीरी में, मन लागो।
My spiritual path is taking very long, and I feel sometimes stuck, and I a bit discouraged. And if you could give me some inspiration at this point to how to all these sayings, drop the self and all these things, but how actually to, it's not happening, it seems, so far. So what can I
Let's begin with the basics. When you say spiritual path, and when you say that it is taking too long, you surely have some idea of where you want to reach, and that is why you are able to say that you probably have not yet reached there, and that it is taking too long a time. Now, let me say I am standing at a point A, and standing at point A, I imagine point B as a point of peace or enlightenment. I imagine B standing at A. I am not very satisfied with A, that is why I imagine some other point to be the point of peace. But B is imagined by A. Are we together? B, point B is imagined by A. You know what A is? A is the state of mind one is in. So B is a function of A. One imagines B only because one is at A. Which means even though B ostensibly is a different point, a point of apparent satisfaction, yet B is a point imagined from a state of dissatisfaction. The one who imagines B is a dissatisfied one. That is why he imagines B. So standing at A, I imagine some distant point B. I also imagine a path to B. And my idea then is to reach B through that path. I can also dream up a few other alternative paths also. But the idea is to reach somewhere, and that somewhere where I want to reach is a function of where I am standing. Now in a dissatisfied state, whatever I imagine or think of or target, will that not be a product of dissatisfaction? I am not at peace with myself. I feel some fear. I feel unsettled. Now in this mental situation, whatever I will dream of, whatever I will want to achieve, will be a product of dissatisfaction. And satisfaction can never be a product of dissatisfaction. Peace can never be a product of noise. which means that whenever someone will think of God or truth or peace as a distant goal and want to move towards it, he will necessarily fail, and the result will be frustration. Which means that whenever there would be a spiritual path, a spiritual journey, and a spiritual goal, the result would necessarily be frustration.
That's what my experience is. A lot of frustration. Actually, since 25 years ago, I did not have these concepts. But when I came to India in the beginning of end of '89, and I live in India since then. And at first, by grace, I experienced a state of very much satisfaction and peace and contentment and detachment. For some time, it was purely by grace, because I had done nothing and I had no concepts. And after that, I started kind of searching and gurus and path, and at this moment, I am very, very frustrated with it. And actually, I even sometimes have the impression that I'm going backwards. That I'm getting worse rather than better, in this journey, so-called.
You are in India since '89,
Yeah.
mostly in Rishikesh.
No, in different places. I spend much time in Tiruvannamalai, much time in Bodh Gaya, much time in the Himalayas. But every year I also come to Rishikesh.
You have worked really hard. I really respect your commitment. In fact, I am deeply touched by the kind of dedication you have shown to the truth. Very few people have that. Now it is your time to stop chasing the truth and simply reach. You have chased for long enough. You have strived, you have tried, you have wandered here and there, you have paid a lot of price. Having tried so hard, now just stop trying. Just get rid of the belief that God is a goal outside somewhere. Hmm? All the effort that one makes to reach the truth, that itself is the barrier against the truth. Hmm?
But it is like one knows this somehow, because as long as the effort is there, the seeker is there, the ego is there, the effort is there, but it's just like I can't drop it. Like also now, I am in Rishikesh. There are so many. Normally, when I'm in Tiruvannamalai, I don't go to the satsangs and all these things. I'm with Ramana Maharshi. I sit in the old hall, and that's enough. And then, but in a place like here, and I see the posters around, and in one way I feel no, I should not go. I should not go anywhere. I should just stay with myself, sit by the Ganga, be at peace. Still, something told me, no, maybe you miss something if you don't go and and listen to this one or that one, and so I get more pulled here and there, more restless, more solidified, more um, more unpeaceful, and more grasping, like
The search intensifies, the search is renewed. Just have a deep confidence that you have a very, very intimate relationship with God, which requires no middleman. Even if there was no guru, no teacher to tell you of the truth, still you would be firmly established in the truth because the truth is your nature. Even if there were no scriptures to say even a single word about the truth, yet you would be in the truth like the fish is in the water. The fish does not have to read of the ocean from somewhere. Nobody comes to educate her. She does not go to a satsang to learn about the ocean. Yeah? And even if all the masters of the world tell you that you have lost the truth, you cannot lose it. Inside, outside, up, down, right, left, you are already in the truth. Already.
It is like I have this intellectual conviction, but experientially I feel sometimes so thrown out or so disconnected, or like intellectually
Every
know
experience that happens is just an experience. And there is no experience of the truth. Experiences are experiences. There is no experience of the truth, but you can pass through experiences in truth. Situated in truth, you can pass through all the experiences, and that would mean that experiences would remain just experiences and not penetrate you, not shake you up. Some untouched point would remain within. See, realization does not mean that you will have some special experience of truth. There is no special experience of truth.
I imagine realization to be a complete relaxation, that where I'm free of anxiety, free of identification with okay, this solid me and mind and body. It's just that finally I relax and I can live,
Conceptually, what you are saying is correct. Realization is a complete relaxation. But it is a complete relaxation in the middle of all movement, in the middle of various experiences, including the experience of tiredness. So realization is relaxation in the middle of tiredness, which means that you will experience tiredness. The relaxation that is associated with realization is not a superficial relaxation. Superficially you will experience tiredness just as any other person does.
And also anxiety.
Anxiety too you will experience. Let me assure you that it is not as if the natural one, the centered one, the realized one does not experience tiredness or anxiety or worry, it is not as if he is free of these experiences.
Mm.
He too has all these experiences. Hmm?
Mm.
Thoughts are there, and when thoughts are there, then surely future is there, hope is there, the world is there,
Mm.
memories are there,
Mm.
anxiety too is there,
Mm.
anger too may be there.
Mm.
Hmm? What distinguishes the realized one is that in the middle of all of this,
Mm.
he still has an untouched point.
Mm.
So while he is angry, even then, there is that small thing within him
Mm.
which is not angry.
Mhm.
Every bit of him is angry, shaking with anger.
Mm.
Yet there is something very small, very little, very subtle,
Mm.
which is not angry.
But this I recognize this.
So you are already enlightened. Now why are you chasing it? What do you think? The truth is so rude and merciless and loveless that you will go after it for 20 years, 30 years, and it would still elude you.
Mm.
The truth has no intention of staying away from you. Hmm? Maybe it is already with you, but you don't look at it because you are chasing it elsewhere.
Mm.
Hmm? You may already be enlightened, maybe you are not just acknowledging it. Maybe this state that you are in is already a state of enlightenment. It is just that this state is not matching with your ideals and imaginations of enlightenment.
Mhm.
So many books and gurus have created a very wonderful image of the enlightened one.
Mm.
Huh? And it's a totally unrealistic image.
Mm.
And seekers then chase that image, trying to mold themselves
Mm.
in the shape and form and similarity to that image.
Mm.
That image is just a hollow ideal.
Mhm.
There is no substance in that image.
But why does it come up in scriptures, in books, or in descriptions of sages and
It does not really come up. It comes up not in the scriptures but in our interpretation of the scriptures.
Mhm.
There is no scripture worth the name which gives any image of enlightenment, I assure you.
Mhm.
In fact, I have repeatedly been saying that show me one scripture which gives some kind of a blueprint of enlightenment.
Mm. I was just reading a little bit in Sida Rameshwar, and yeah, and he definitely said something about a sign of realization is that we are completely free of anxiety.
Yes, he is right that you are completely free of anxiety. What does that mean? Which means that anxiety will be there,
Mhm.
but you will be free of it.
But yeah.
Did he say that anxiety is not there?
Mhm.
What is he saying? He is saying that you will be free of anxiety, which means that anxiety will not trouble you. So now you can be anxious without being anxious.
Mhm.
Now you can be afraid without being afraid. Hmm? Now you can be excited without being excited. Now you can be lazy without being lazy.
Mhm.
Now you can be the actor without being the actor. And that is enlightenment.
To always recognize that point.
No, not recognize anything.
Hmm.
Not recognize anything. That point is beyond recognition. You don't have to do anything with enlightenment. Enlightenment is not something that you can hold in your hands. You only live in your daily small experiences. And enlightenment means that now you do not demand anything beyond these experiences.
That I do not demand anything to be different.
You don't demand anything to be different. You are always in touch with something so fulfilling that even when life outside becomes demanding, even terrible, yet you are not very deeply upset. Hmm? You would be upset superficially. In the depths, you would be silent, tranquil, untouched.
But
The realized one lives a very ordinary life simply in the facts. Simply in the facts. Which means that there is very little space in his mind for imagination.
yeah.
Which means he would think very little of tomorrow or depend very little on the past. Which means that he is a very common person, a very ordinary person.
The thing is, I feel I don't. I mean, as I said, 25 years ago, I have had just like because of going through some very mental or psychological hardship, let's say, just for a few days going through like extreme sense of loneliness and due to circumstances coming together, and after that I got into a state where I really kind of experienced like a deep sense of okay, whatever happens, it's fine, I felt much more detached from.
Excuse me.
Yeah, much more detached from events and all this, and now after so many years, even I could say that even in the last 5 years, so now this is 25 years. In the last 5 years, I feel like more anxiety came in my life. Are you recording? No, this side, please.
That anxiety is not something outside of enlightenment. You can be enlightened even with anxiety. In fact, if there are mental states that you have not allowed yourself, then please stop resisting them. Please stop resisting them. If there are actions or thoughts that you have barred or prohibited, thinking that they do not befit a spiritual seeker, kindly lift the bar. I repeat, you have worked really hard. You have already proven yourself a worthy one. All that is now required of you is that you relax and surrender.
But, yeah, surrender. Like,
And surrender means that you drop the search. Surrender means that you simply say that
okay, I give it up.
I give it up.
Mm.
And this giving up is enlightenment.
Mm.
Giving up is not a defeat, it is the highest victory.
I sometimes I really I wish to give it up. I
Just give it
but
up. Just give it up. Drop this idea that you are a spiritual seeker. Right now, your whole personality in your mind is that of a spiritual seeker.
mm, yeah, but I mean involuntarily I but as I said, no, it I
Involuntarily, it keeps happening. It
yeah
keeps happening only as a thought. And thoughts find space only when you are not living in the daily facts. So, right now, as you are speaking to me, where is the space for thoughts? See how attentively you are listening.
mm,
There is very little space for thoughts.
mm,
Similarly, when you would be doing other things
mm,
like walking or reading or eating, hmm, sitting, sleeping, just be so fully relaxed that there is no need for too much thinking.
mm,
Thought arises only when a goal, target, ambition, or problem is there.
mm,
Hmm? Enlightenment itself is such a big problem.
yeah.
One says, I am not able to attain enlightenment after so many years.
Yeah.
So it is a big target, a big problem.
Yeah, and now in recently even so much more. For example, since coming to Rishikesh and there are these gurus, and since then I'm even in the night I can't sleep.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I have not have not reached.
You
I'm
see,
still.
let me give you an example. You say you are a spiritual seeker.
Mm,
Hmm? There are businessmen in the big cities.
mm,
Hmm? You are chasing enlightenment, they are chasing their monetary profits, seeking to expand their business, earn more money. They too cannot sleep at nights.
mm,
Now, what is the difference between you and them?
mm.
Don't you see that it is very much the same thing?
Yeah.
They are
Mm,
chasing satisfaction through money,
mm,
which is just an ideal, just imaginary, they won't get
mm,
it. And you are chasing satisfaction through some kind of a personality which is
mm,
imaginary,
mm.
which won't give you any satisfaction.
It's not even seeking that uh, it's not even that I'm seeking satisfaction for myself. Just it feels like there is a duty or a purpose, and it feels like a bit shameful that after so much time I
You
have
have
not.
failed.
I have failed.
No,
Yeah,
you
like,
don't have any obligation, any duty. Please get rid of this notion. You are not born with any duty. One is born free, and that basic freedom is enlightenment. You have no obligation to become enlightened because you are enlightened. Nobody has any obligation to chase God. God Himself is the one who expresses Himself through you, through me, through this world. How can the world have an obligation then to chase God? So there is no religious or spiritual duty as such to become enlightened. No, not at all. You can be shamelessly unenlightened, and that is enlightenment. Hmm? Enlightenment is to be shamelessly unenlightened.
and So this sense of failure, it's actually
Rejoice in this failure. When you can laugh at this failure, you will know you are enlightened. Enlightenment is to remain enlightened even in the middle of failure. In the middle of your worst failure, you are still enlightened.
So it's kind of I have to convince myself that I'm enlightened.
No, you have to drop all ideas regarding enlightenment or unenlightenment. Just have a certain deep faith that you are within the truth, that there is nothing wrong with you, that there is nothing in you that needs to be corrected or improved. Even when all is going wrong, even when all is crumbling about you, even when you see that you are failing or committing mistakes, still retain that deep faith, that deep sureness, that mystical confidence. Retain that. Never feel small or bad about yourself. Never. And never allow any guru to tell you that you need to be enlightened. If someone is saying that you need to be enlightened, then first of all, he is not in touch with his own enlightenment. So simply walk the cities of Rishikesh. The weather is pleasant these days.
Yeah.
The Ganga is beautiful. The mountains are so nice. Live the food, the weather, the streets. Roam about purposelessly, feed the fish, and that is enlightenment. Simple, direct and straight, ordinary. And do not try to live as per an enlightened code of conduct. There is no divine commandment that an enlightened one has to live in this framework. There is no such framework. You can do whatever you want to do. You can walk madly, you can dance, you can even abuse, you can stumble, you can fall, you can sleep, you can act lazy, you can act in the most stupid way.
I recognize this very much. And it's like when I'm in places like, for example, in summertime, I stay in the high Himalayas, and okay, I stay in a Buddhist monastery, but it's not that there is any teacher there. These monks, they are very, very simple, and they just live their lives and do their thing. They hang around, and in the morning they do some chanting, and that's it. And so I'm also just there, and I feel much less stress there than when I come in this environment of spirituality and this feeling, oh, I have to.
Isn't it simple? See, nothing in the existence goes willfully to an environment which makes him stressed. If this so-called spirituality makes you stressed and anxious, then why do you go to it?
It is. I'm asking myself this question even before coming here.
The answer is simple. You have been convinced that you lack something.
Yeah.
So you are inflicting a torture upon yourself.
Yeah.
Now why must you condemn yourself to this punishment? If going to spiritual places does not make you feel nice, you have no responsibility, no obligation to go. You are alright. You are alright. See, you and God are very close. It's a very intimate love affair. No spiritual place or special teacher is needed.
I Actually, as a child, I felt quite an intimate, let's say, relationship or communion with God,
Yes.
and a great gratitude, and like yeah, with God, not as any. I had no conception of God as a form. Like, I mean, I was born, of course, in a Christian country, but I never believed in a God on a cloud, or I also had not a relationship with Jesus Christ. It was like a formless God, which always was with me. Uh,
So you were better off as a child, right? Can you return to your childlike state? Hmm? Carefree, hmm? Flowing, unobstructed, uninhibited. Remove all the great ideas. You are already great. Hmm? When I look at you, I am seeing nothing but enlightenment. Why are you not able to look at yourself and see God?
so all these mind states are superimposed.
Yes, of course. But they will be there. Don't fight them. They will be there even in the middle of all the doubt and all these mind states. Just stand firm in the deep conviction that you are still all right. Hmm? Even when somebody tries to tell you that no, 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 you are not enlightened, you need to do this, you need to climb that hill, you need to go to that master, you need to read that scripture, you need to perform those ceremonies. Even when somebody is trying to convince you of all this, listen to him, but have this firmness in the heart that God will not come to you through methods and techniques. He is not a goal, a target, an object. He is you, already you. And he laughs a lot when he finds you searching for him. You are God's joke. He looks at you and keeps laughing. It is like you are looking for your own eyes. You are fervently looking out and trying to find your eyes.
Yeah, it's like I'm just looking to be myself.
You already are. You don't have to be yourself. You already are. This is what it is. This, exactly this. With no change, no improvement required. This exactly as it is. Not even 1% change needed.
So, and if I am in unhappy mind states,
Remain unhappy. Just remain unhappy. Remain unhappy. Now you are unhappily enlightened. Now you are unhappily enlightened. When you are anxious, then you are anxiously enlightened. When you are excited, then you are excitedly enlightened. In whichever state you are, you never lose enlightenment. Enlightenment is your heartbeat. Enlightenment is your breath. How can you lose it? It is only in thoughts that you lose enlightenment. Don't give energy to those thoughts.
This is true. So I just let it be.
Oh yes.
Just
Have a nice cup of tea. Relax. Walk around.
Mhm.
And I repeat, do not allow this so-called spiritual world to dominate you. Let them not tell you that you lack something. Hmm? Never listen to them. Whenever somebody tries to tell you that there is something inherently wrong with you, don't listen. Yes, superficial improvements can be made. We listen to people when they tell us that we are not driving properly or such things.
Mm.
But if somebody tells you that there is something wrong with your soul, with your heart, with your very essence, then don't listen.
With identification.
Identifications will continue. In the middle of identifications, you remain unidentified. In the middle of all the identifications, you remain enlightened. I assure you, you will remain identified till your last breath. If you are aiming to drop all identifications, then you are too identified with the dropper.
Mm.
Identification will remain.
So, okay. I think, yeah.
That's it. Nothing left to do.
Mm.
No goal left to achieve. Just play around. Have fun.
And so now, if it happens to be that it, that mostly or quite often, alternatingly, there is a heaviness which is sticking to me.
Live through that heaviness. There is nothing wrong with that heaviness. Live through it. Don't resist it. Don't try to do something about it.
And just
One is
see-
sometimes heavy, one is sometimes light. All these are moods of the mind. They keep swinging.
Mm.
Why do you want to interfere? Let the mind do whatever it wants to do. Sometimes it will be very happy. Sometimes it will be needlessly gloomy. It's like the weather. It keeps changing.
And what is then the difference with you?
Difference?
Yeah, for you. But,
For me?
yes.
No difference. I'm just like you.
But what is the?
There is no difference. Actually, there is no difference. It is just that you don't want to accept that you are all right. And I have refused resisting long back.
Resisting?
Resisting anything. Whatever is there is there.
So you just completely accept.
I don't accept. I just don't resist.
Mhm.
And even when resistance is there, I don't even resist the resistance.
But has there been a point in your life, like a point in your life that something?
No fancy points, no moment of awakening, no waking up to the radiant truth. None of those fancy stories. None of those fancy stories. No renunciation of home, no visiting a great master, no effulgence of some divine energy, nothing of that kind. Simple, ordinary human being.
But with giving up all resistance. I mean that's
I will simply say I am alright with whatever is happening. Even when I'm trying really hard, I'm still alright with the way things are. I might be involved in a passionate attempt to change things, yet I am alright. Hmm? Remain alright.
Yeah. Just not to load it with the mind.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like,
Never be ashamed of yourself. Never feel incomplete. Don't feel guilty. And don't feel too responsible. You're not here to strive.
all these things.
You're here to have fun.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. I will go out and I will.
And when one of those serious gurus, they try to tell you that you need to do this or that, then you can shamelessly, show them your thumb like this. Have you seen kids rolling out their tongues? Thank you.
Thank you.